Hello everyone, my name is Prism, and welcome back to another video. So, in preparation for James Gunn's Superman launching into cinemas on July 11th in the United States, I wanted to do a video talking about all the Superman solo live-action films that have come before. There are quite a few Superman movies, and all of them vary in quality, but I wanted to go ahead and start back at the very beginning and give my thoughts, on each and every single one, so that by the time we get to James Gunn's Superman, I have an idea of what came before, and I can put it into my interpretation of do I think it's a good Superman movie. But also, I just think it's a really fun opportunity for me to review all of these films, and for me to tell you guys my thoughts. So let's begin with the Richard Donner classic, Superman the Movie. Now, Superman the Movie, in my opinion, I think is a perfect superhero film. I think it is like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, where it is so genuine. Not only is it a fun superhero film with great action set pieces, but it is a great character piece. The film is not just about Superman flying around saving people. It's first about who is Clark Kent and who is Superman. We start at the very beginning with the evacuation of Krypton, with his parents sending him to Earth due to the planet's destruction, and the whole film is about him learning to become Superman. We have important life moments, such as the first time he met the Kent family, and when his father passes away from a heart attack, and we go from there to seeing him learn about his lineage and eventually becoming the Caped Crusader. And I think this film does a great job spending time in each of those areas. We get a little bit of time with Clark as a baby in Krypton, we get to see him on Earth a little bit, and we get to see him as Superman for a majority of the film. I do think they could have maybe spread out some of his teenage years a bit more, but I do appreciate that they have actually gone ahead and started at the beginning so that we can see who Superman really is. That we can see how he came to Earth, and he was really an introduction to modern audiences. I would say the Superman film is really a great science fiction blockbuster. It really is. It has likable characters, it has an epic soundtrack, it has great action scenes, it has great charisma from its actors. What Superman the movie does before being a superhero movie is being a good film. Because you could argue a lot of movies are great superhero movies or bad superhero movies. But when you watch Superman the movie, I would argue you don't even feel like it's a superhero movie for some of it, because it just feels so natural. Like, it's a lot more mellow than modern-day superhero movies. I mean, look at Man of Steel from 2013. That is a more 21st century Superman, and that Superman is a lot more faster-paced, more brutal, more action-packed. Whereas this one, they're really just trying to tell you this full story. It's almost like they're trying to tell you just this whole tale, like this is some old fantasy fable. And you get to learn about Clark Kent and Superman and his love for Lois Lane and how he has to keep his identity a secret, and how, while he has these powers, he is meant to use them for the people of Earth, for the good of mankind. He is brought to Earth as a symbol of hope. He is brought to Earth for a reason, as Pa Kent says. And I think it's really good that we actually get to see this. We get to see him in his childhood, we get to see when he grows up, we get to see the passing of his father, and it's all very genuine, it's all very emotional. Maybe not all of it, because, they could develop things a bit more, but it just does a really good job of setting up this epic tale. And I like all the performances from the actors. Marlon Brando, who I've not seen in a lot of films, but I know is a famous actor, does a great job as Jor-El. Margot Kidder is a great Lois Lane. Lex Luthor, played by Gene Hackman, gives a performance that is likable to watch, but also isn't overly terrifying, but still has a sense of determination to him. Whereas I would argue the Kevin Spacey Lex Luthor from Superman Returns is all hatred and no sense of joy or silliness to him. That Lex Luthor tries to have its funny moments, but it doesn't feel genuine. It feels like he's just this insane, crazy person. Like he's just this angry, vengeful maniac. That's what I get from the Kevin Spacey Lex Luthor. Whereas this Lex Luthor, he's very genuine. He's, still got this sense of determination, but he does make jokes, and he does, he swims in his, place's hot tub. Like, we literally have a scene with him in a jacuzzi. Like, he's meant to be threatening, but we also get a sense that, hey, it's okay, this is a family film. We're not going too much into the campy direction, but we're also not trying to scare everyone away with a really dark tale. And I think that Superman does a great job with its narrative structure, because it's like any person's story. You have the beginning, childhood, the middle, them learning about who they are to become, and then you have their life, and then you have the climax. Obviously not with death, but you know what I mean. It's a very thorough structure to the film. We go from point A to point C, and it's all very smooth. I, once again, love the score by John Williams. I think he does a great job. And I think Christopher Reeve gives a honorable performance. He is what makes Superman. And I think anyone in the cast and crew who says Christopher Reeve made Superman is not just saying nice things. I think they genuinely mean it. Watching Christopher Reeve on screen, even in the worst Superman movie, Superman 4, you can tell he really cares. You can tell he's really trying his best, and that's the one thing that did not change through all of the Superman films. The performances of the actors. Maybe the situations or the dialogue was not the best, but all of the main actors that are in the first film are very much cared about and care about their performances in the sequels. I think this film does a great job, like I said, with setting things up. I do think the beginning could be cut down quite a lot. I felt like the destruction of Krypton took a little bit way too long. We get the point that Krypton is dying, but you could have just gone from a few shaking shots to it exploding. And I think the whole idea of having the judgment case at the beginning with Jor-El is really repetitive. I know that they're trying to make it be like one big overarching story, but it just doesn't really work because you treat the second film like you're trying to remind the audiences of the first film, where I feel like what the first film could have done was ended with the criminals escaping, and then in part 2, you have the takedown of the criminals and what's going on. But like I said, I think Superman the movie is great, but it's still amazing. Even all these years later, in 2025, when this film came out in 1978, I think it's still the most genuine of all the Superman movies. You can clearly tell there was a vision of care and love and maturity to the decisions, and it's just sad how far the franchise went with the sequels. But that's my thoughts for Superman the movie. I can't wait to review the sequels. I can't wait to review both cuts of Superman 2, and I will be back with those shortly. Bye for now!